right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lina. I'm a QA lead here at DHS2. And today I would like to talk to you a little bit about quality things, how we work briefly, as well as mention beta testing campaign and give some tips about bugs, actually. So I hope it's useful. It will be a little bit high level. So if you have any questions, of course, you can ask and clarify. So first of all, DHS2 is free and open source. So when I joined, I was like, okay, this is wonderful. It's generic design, which is great. Yet when it comes to testing, that means that you can really customize it, right? So it could be used in very different ways. And it can be used in various domains. So it's not only health, right? It could be education, it could be agriculture, and so on. Sorry, was someone saying something? No, okay, echo. And it's used in more than 100 countries worldwide. So if you look at the map, it's a lot of countries, it's a lot of possible use cases. Due to its open source nature, it's really hard sometimes to understand what kind of use cases there are exactly and what is happening there. So when it comes to quality and testing, we always are looking for ways to improve it and somehow, get more feedback. Because DHS2 is many apps, it's also many use cases we are not aware of, and it's many unknowns when it comes to quality, despite thorough testing by teams. So we do have testing in teams, but there's still a lot of things that we do not know. So how do we actually test in DHS2? So every delivery team has both automated and manual tests. There are also initiatives on cross-functional requirements, for example, security or performance. There is manual regression testing that takes place before each patch release and a bigger release. So we are supporting the last 3 versions, and we have patch releases basically every 2 weeks, apart from this period when there's a big release in middle of the year. And we also organize bug bashes where everyone is invited to test. Those are time box testing sessions, 2 a year now we're trying to do before a big release. So that's concentrated on that. There's also a beta testing program. And this is a testing program for users where they can test their own instances, for example, or use cases before the release. So last year, some of you may have seen this in community of practice. For the first time, we had an open beta testing campaign. So basically, we invited anyone to join and actually test the new release. But this year, we also are continuing it, yet we want to improve it a little bit and get even more feedback if possible and spread awareness that this is going to take place again this year. So we have a little tool that I would like to share right now and make sure that you're aware that it exists. So we are going to have a public beta testing campaign, and we're going to have this little tool. I'll close these so I don't get distracted myself. So basically, you will be able to log in and create a user. And when you log in, you will see this kind of website. When you want to start testing something, you'll just say, okay, I want to test something. You will likely join a certain campaign. So right now the approaching release is 43, and you can choose certain components that matter to you, right? So there are lots of different components here that you can choose from, and you can say, okay, for example, for me, data entry is really interesting. Line listing. A worth noting thing is that you also will see certain things like how many testers there are. So if it's very popular and it has already lots of bugs, it maybe doesn't have that much of demand. But some of the components, if they're not really being tested, they need testers. So your feedback is very, very needed. So this UI should help better to gauge interest on what apps or like what components are interesting to you. And then once you select these, you can actually start testing. So for example, this one I already tried before a little bit. But once you will open about the app, of course, you have your use cases, and that's what we would encourage. So we would encourage people to use their own instances, their own use cases, because it's, helping us to gain feedback. But we will also add certain guides, right? Or like what we would like to concentrate on. Also some resources. So for example, this is, I think, some steps that are actually from TestPad. This is a tool that we used before for beta testing campaigns as well. So it will still exist likely, but more for the HISPs. And then you will have some kind of guideline here. Once you see a bug, you can, of course, report it. And you see also bugs that others reported here. So this is quite helpful. So if you say report a bug, then you will have already this bug report, and you'll be able to say, okay, it does not open, and then you can add all kinds of information and also add a severity. If you say this is really important, add images and so on, and explain how it works, right? So we always need steps and results and what you expected. Once I submit it, it will be seen here. And as admins, of course, we will be going through them. And if the bug is really something to be fixed, we will be creating these in Jira and linking them. So you'll be able also to see other bugs and see, for example, this one was reported. And then you can see, okay, I have, for example, also experienced this bug, so you don't need to, again, recreate these. There also will be a place to add comments. So you could say this is critical for our implementation, for example, and then we know. So this information really helps us, right? Because of the DHIS2 nature, sometimes we don't know exactly what use cases there are. So this tool should be quite helpful. It's still the first version of it. There will be also leaderboard, so you can see who is the top tester, top bug hunter. We will try also to see, okay, which bugs are valid and so on, and have a little bit of competition. So for us to get feedback from the public is essential. It's very useful, and we hope that you will join it in and actually test components that are relevant to you. And you can test, of course, your use cases, so you don't have to necessarily test what we are suggesting. However, we have some guidance as well here. So this is about beta testing and how we will try to do it this year. We will be announcing it throughout the upcoming months. So watch out the community of practice, and we'll share a little bit more information there. So then I also wanted to use a chance to add some tips on bugs. So luckily, if you work with DHIS2, this is a thing that you may have encountered when something does not work as intended, or you would like it to work differently. And one of the big questions that you may have is how to get that bug fixed, right? And the important thing for us in DHIS2 is to actually know that it exists. So please tell us, and you can tell us by giving us feedback. Of course, you can reach out to the team, give us feedback. There's also a process of roadmap ideas, right? So you can also create those ideas and suggest certain things that you have, and it's also being communicated. But talking about bugs, you can also participate in events like beta testing program or bug bashes, where you get to test the product, especially the upcoming release, and then you can report bugs in Jira. So I guess quite a few of you have reported bugs in Jira, and you know how it works. So Jira is open, and if you face any problem, you can check the backlog. You can see if anything related is created, and if not, you can actually create a bug in Jira. However, it's not enough just to create a bug, because it could get lost a little bit, right? So how can I actually make sure that my bug gets fixed? Well, there is a big secret, which is not very much a secret, but a good, clear bug report can really help. I understand that it's frustrating sometimes, and we feel like, okay, but this is obvious. I added a log. But we really need to be able to reproduce it in all the environments. So for us, it always helps that we have steps to reproduce on play environments and they are clear, because then we also, if we don't understand the bug, we may bug you to get more information about it. So a great bug report has a minimal list of steps. So if you can just have like a minimal list, it's really great, and preferably on play environment. Or note if it's not possible to reproduce there, and how we can set up an environment that could help us. Actual expected result, because sometimes we may assume that, oh, it should work this way, but actually it's the opposite when it comes to the intended way and so on. So for us to know what you expected and what is actual result really helps. Screenshots, videos, so then we see what happened, right? Because it's very easy to just assume or think, okay, like this looks good, if especially actual and expected result is a little bit fluffy. And one bug per one bug report. Frequently, people are so very excited to report bugs, but then they add, let's say, 5 bugs in one. And we really would like to encourage just try to separate them. I know it's likely one of the biggest tasks overall when it comes to bugs to get to the real root cause, to just get one case, which is fairly simple, right? But that really helps us then to fix it. So if you have multiple bugs, and frequently you find a cluster of bugs, right? So once you hit one bug, you're like, oh, there's 3 more. But please create separate bugs for this. And really nice to have is affected versions. So we know, is it just this latest version that you're testing on, or what exactly, where is it happening? When it comes to apps, apps also have versions, but we also have the core version of DHIS2, right? So you can see this usually in the right corner, and you can see more information about apps, and you can share it with us. It's very important for us to have these versions, and we usually will recheck and ask questions also if we have any when it comes to bugs. And bonus actually that can really help is context about your usage of DHIS2 with a note on the impact and importance of this bug to your everyday life. Because you can see a bug, let's say, oh, we cannot add an avatar to a user, but another user could say, oh, I don't need avatars. But maybe your users really need it. So you could say, okay, we have 5 million users and they cannot add avatar, and we actually cannot differentiate well, and it really helps us, and so on. So having this context can help us learn more about this sometimes quite challenging, like a complex system of DHIS2, where we're not sure what actually are the use cases. So when it comes to all this, I think what I wanted to really accentuate is that feedback, getting it and acting on it is essential for good quality. So we have programs like beta testing that you will hear more about in the upcoming months, and we would really like to invite you to join, as well as if you're joining bug bashes, that's great. And if you're reporting bugs, trying to give us this feedback and not hide it and not suffer in silence, right? Because we really want to help out and we want to know what's happening. So it's helping us and help us help you when it comes to this. And lastly, I wanted just to end with a little quality manifesto that the team has brainstormed a while ago. So we were thinking what quality is for DHIS2. And as big of a question it is, and it is a very big question, we came up with a few statements that sort of should drive our work. And I think it's very important for developer community as well to have this in mind and to help us keep us accountable. So if you don't feel that this is the case, please let us know so that we can actually improve and what we could do to make it better. But this is our quality manifesto, that we help people do their work easier by creating an easy to use and extensible system. We do not add more stress to already stressful environments. We think of each other by providing good documentation and maintainable code, and we continuously improve by reacting to feedback. That's it from my side. So thank you so much. If we have some time for questions, go ahead. I guess no, but if you have anything that you would like to share with me, please reach out and please join the beta testing campaign in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina. And just for we're now up to 35 people, so we're growing quite a bit in the last few minutes. So for those of you that haven't joined some of these meetups before, it's kind of a an open forum for people to discuss and talk about things, and it's also for different people to share different experiences and different things that might be useful to others as well. So feel free to speak up and to share and to ask questions, and to also kind of talk about how something might be interesting to you or to your team. So it's really great to hear a little bit more about some of the quality efforts that we're doing at DHIS2, how you can all be involved, but also maybe think about how this could be applied to your organizations and your applications or extensions or products that you're building as well. So yeah, thank you very much, Linda. And if we don't have any questions now, if you do have questions throughout the meeting, feel free to raise your hands. But we'll turn it over to Mozaffar, who will introduce some of our additional speakers today.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. My name is Muzaffar. I'm a developer in the core team, in the extensibility team. We started the last few meetups to highlight contributions from external developers, and we talked about how we want to encourage that to happen more. I think Lena talked, her first slide was about DHIS being open and open source and free. Sorry, I shared the wrong one. Um, but yeah, open doesn't necessarily means that it's accessible, right? Like sometimes it's hard to know where to start, where to contribute, and so on. And we started with the extensibility team. We had a core team, part of the core team that's focused on extensions and helping the community to create extensions, whether they're apps or plugins or so on. And also part of that work is to encourage contributions. We talked in one of the meetups about a program we start called the Dev Champions. It's a group of uh, people to champion development in several HISP groups. And we're starting to see the contributions coming back from led by these people, but their teams and other people in the community. So in the last couple of months, in the last meetup, we had a presentation for one of the contributions by Davis from his Tanzania. We have three more from his Tanzania, one that's collaboration between his Tanzania and his India. There are four contributions from Mozambique, his Digitus, and three from his West Central Africa in the last couple of months. These are ranging from the UI library, app runtime, app platform, specific apps, route manager, and the global shell and multi-calendar library. So yeah, today we will present two of these contributions and contributors. So starting the first one is with Alan from his Tanzania to present to the community his contribution to DHIS 2. Alan, can go ahead.
Hello
Are you able to
everyone.
share?
Yes, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to share?
Yes, I'm trying to share. Hopefully you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So, hi everyone. My name is Alan Andrew, and I am an information system software developer from HISP Tanzania with experience with DHIS2 for almost 2 years now. So last year I had a chance to contribute to one of DHIS2 repositories, Route Manager app. So in this short presentation, I will share a short overview of what I did and the insights from the contribution process. So one of the features that was requested by DHIS2 was exposing OAuth 2 client credentials in the Route Manager app, whereby what I did, what I changed was the UI part, because the backend part was already done and covered. So all I did was add OAuth 2 client credential as an authentication option, besides the basic one and the API token, of which they had dynamic form fields, of which user could fill in from the client ID, client secret, and the token URL. So that's all that I did in the part of the UI in the Route Manager app. Going forward, I'll talk about the contribution process from the things I like I learned the challenges I faced and the things that I look forward to. So starting with the things that I liked that there was clear DHIS2 API documentation and backend support that was already there, of which the mapping was easier for me to just map the UI part with the payload mapping. And something else that I liked was the great support and guidance that I got from the DHIS2 team. Their feedback was very constructive and very helpful. Going forward to the things that I learned how the DHIS2 route manager structures, the authentication configuration, but also I learned the importance of running linting and also formatting locally to avoid commit push failure repeats, especially once you are trying to merge your pull request. There are several checks that take place, one of them including linting and formatting. I also got to learn other issues concerning commit squashing and how the processes are when trying to merge your pull request. Going forward to the challenges that I faced, despite the fact that testing the UI part was easy, but testing testing it to the backend side was kind of a challenge to me because I faced the challenge trying to find a dummy server to test if it actually connects to the backend part and all that. Also, a challenge that I faced was the issue of linting and running and formatting. So this issue I faced at the end while trying to merge my pull requests. So it was a bit of a challenge because I skipped the process of linting and also formatting as well. Oh, and going lastly to the things that I long for or look forward to are faster CI pipelines if possible, especially maybe having checks like linting and formatting could be done locally, having them locally done so that at the end the CI pipeline could be a bit faster. And also maybe a clear guideline for external contributors, things to consider, like issues concerning linting, formatting, the PR linting, how the pull request name should be, but also, that's it. Issues to consider while trying to commit in open source repo. That's it from my side, and thank you once again.
Thank you, Alan. Yeah, I will come back at the end as well at the challenges and so on and what we can do better. But thank you for the contribution and getting it through. And people can use it in the Route Manager app. We have few things that are in the API, but we're not supported in the app. So it's nice to see this in. So thank you. Yeah. And next is Self-Soap. So can you share your screen? Can you look over?
Good afternoon for everyone. I also share my screen now. So please let me know if you can hear me and if you can see my screen.
Yeah, can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So so I'm going to present now how was the process of contributing to DHIS2 core as South Digital's team. I'm Celso Carvalho. I'm a front-end developer from South Digital. So let's go. At first, we'll talk about the contribution overview with a quick demo, and then we'll talk about the contribution retrospective, what we like it, what we learn, what we want to see in the futures. For the feature was to enhance the accessibility of the simple single select component Maybe if I can just share here a Jira ticket. So according to the combo box accessibility pattern from APG, pressing escape, it will dismiss the pop-up. Like you have the menu, so it will dismiss the menu. But when you press twice, the behavior is close the menu and then clear the option, the selected option. So that's what I did as a Digitus. So sorry, my slides a little bit. Yeah, so now we are going to make a small demonstration of this. So first, I'm going to show what was the behavior of the select. So we have here before the change, before the request. So the first escape I click, it's close the menu, but when I click twice, it don't clear, doesn't clear the selected options here. So after changes, so we have here a new select, okay, with the same, of course, is with clearable button. I have this option selected. If I clear space at first time, it should close the menu, but if I click on second time, it should clear the selected options here according to the I can say to the ticket here. Okay. So now we gonna talk about the contribution retrospective. What do we like it as Digitals? Was the clear and well-documented contributions. If you see, sorry, on Digitals view, I mean on DI2, if you go to the, sorry for that, if you go to the GitHub and find something like, take us here, sorry, UI. You have here the contributions, the contributions marked down, and is everything here. So this was well documented, and you can read this, and I think that it's possible to go along, you know. So that's the first thing I like. And then the helpful code reviewers. I had people helping me, like, yeah, you need to change it according to the DIS2 code approach. And then the third thing is the opportunity to contribute to the DIS2 and real impact on the global health system. Collaborating with the new peoples. So going to talk about things we learned as teachers was DIS2 coding and reviewing standards, accessibility best practice, is of course because this ticket here specifically, and then of course the documentation. I will say again that I like it the way DIS2 documented the process of the contribution on the projects. Actually, for the Lakehead, I didn't have here. I don't have here bullet. Maybe it's because it was my first. It was my first contribution, and the ticket was a little bit easy. Maybe for the next tickets, I can have something to put here. For things that we won't see on the features, according to the pull requests we have here, of course that some of them is for bots, but we have here pull requests from other contributors, and it wasn't merged, and I don't know if it's the problem is with the contributors, or maybe we want more people's reviewing to be more flexible, so to make this process more flexible. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is the on my case specifically, I did some commits, but after I did my last commits, I noted that the code was not formatted using the linting. So that's why I need to go back in the code and then format the code to finally push again, doing my final commit. In this point, maybe my idea is not just automate the linting, but others commands that can be integrated, can be automated with commits message maybe, or maybe with mandatory commits, with mandatory commands. Sorry. Yeah. So I have here the Jira issues, the pull requests, and of course the link for test the new behavior of the single select component. If of course someone want the slide. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Celso. Yeah, that's a great feedback. So one of the things for that you mentioned that there is good documentation for contributing, but that wasn't there the first round. We did this. That was based on the feedback from others. So yeah, this is good. That's why it's great to have this contribution, because it helps the process be better from our side. I added some of the things here quickly. I'll go through them just from our perspective. We like that you all been patient with us and embraced a bit of chaos. Yeah, there is an issue with a lot of these being legacy applications. So commit hooks were not working. Some projects are older with older setup, and some are newer. So every feedback that you give us makes the process better. And yeah, the more contributions we get, and we, like you said, I think there are 5 or 6 in the pipeline between you at South Digitus and West Central Africa Health Group. So hopefully, yeah, we'll get more contributions. We'll get more of you to present them in the next meetups. Maybe we can be this a regular feature. And I'll also share here the links. Some of them you mentioned, link to Jira where you can find good first issues, and also the contribution guidelines. I'll share these slides on the ticket on the community of practice after. Thank you very much. Can go back to you, Austin.
Sure. Thank you, Mozaffar, and thank you, Celso and Alan, for presenting the contributions. This is really exciting to me to see contributions from the community to DHIS2 Core. It's been something that we have occasionally, but it's been historically a little bit difficult for people to contribute from outside of the core team because it's quite a complex product. So it's really exciting to see people able to do that, and we all work together on building DHIS2 to make it better, for sure. Very exciting. So next I wanted to share very quickly something before I turn it over to the Android team that is coming. Right now it's in the beta version of the app runtime library, which is, for those of you who don't know, that is kind of the data access layer for web applications in DHIS2. And this is something that I know Gift, for example, has presented from his Tanzania, has presented a kind of a way that he worked around some of the challenges with the app runtime. And hopefully this will make some of those use cases, in his case particular, it was using it within Next.js or in a server environment, a little bit easier. So what is currently in the beta branch and will be launched to the production branch very soon for the app runtime is a new feature to be able to use the data engine outside of a React context. So you can construct and use the data engine to access the DHIS2 API without needing to have a client-side React environment. And I'll show you a little bit how that works just very quickly. So I'm going to share my screen here. This is the documentation, which will be available on the developer portal when this goes live. Right now, it's in a pull request and it's on the beta branch, so you can see it in the beta documentation here. But basically, what this allows you to do is to import the data engine itself without any of the hooks or the context that you usually would use in a React application. You can construct a new data engine, and then you can do some queries and mutations directly with that engine in an imperative style. And I've edited this locally, so I'm going to push a change to this. You don't need the /API, but then you can also use this engine to call DHIS2 API endpoints directly, and it will do all of the things that are needed for authentication, for transformation based on the version of the server that you're talking to, and the things that generally the data engine does to kind of abstract away the complexities and the details of the API. It will do that for you, and you can do this as if you were calling a fetch request and doing all of those things manually. So I'll just show very quickly what this looks like in practice. I'm going to share a different screen to do that. So you can see here an example of what we have sort of showing how this can be used. So this is a Node script, and basically we are importing the data engine, and we have to link it to the REST API. So we create also a REST API link. This is some boilerplate that I won't get into, but basically we construct a config with a base URL, an API version, and then we create an API token. So in order to do that, I should have just shared my entire screen, so I will do that now. Just going to share the entire screen. So in order to do that, I need to go to my DHIS2 instance. In this case, I'm using the play environment, and I'm going to create a new personal access token. So I can create a personal access token, say standalone engine test. This will create a new token. In this case, I'm only allowing GET requests, but we could also restrict it to different things. You should create this with a user that has the authorities that you want to grant to your script that you're creating. I'm now going to copy this this personal access token. So this is also a part of this feature is also that this supports authentication with personal access tokens. So previously, you would have to use cookies in the browser in order to authenticate with the data engine. But now you can pass this API key to the engine configuration, and it will authenticate with that API key or that personal access token. So we use this config to construct a REST API link and then a data engine, and then we can do this query. And in this case, we're querying two different things at the same time. We can also use the helper functions to do GET requests directly. So this is just the API endpoint, and you can put whatever string you want here. So even if this was organization units /12345 / whatever the actual endpoint is that you want to do, you could put that there, and it would do all of the authentication for you. But we're going to go ahead and just do our me endpoint. And then I've created this little node script that just takes two arguments. You can see it down at the bottom here. Go ahead and clear this. So basically, we can do this, and then we have to put in our API key. I'm just passing this script, so it's a node script. I'm passing in the target URL and the API key, and then it will go and fetch this. This is the result of that me endpoint. It's a little bit long here, but you can see this get me result here. It gives me the JSON that got me back. And then at the end of our script here, we logged 2 lines. The first one was from this me resource. We got the name of the user. So we said, hello, my name is John Schroer. And then we said, I am using DHIS2 version 4.22, 42.4, 2.42.4, sorry. So you can see this is a Node script. It's running on the server side, no React, no context, nothing like that. That can then use the data engine to easily access the DHIS2 API. Hopefully this is useful in cases where you have potentially React server components. Next.js is a common example of that. But also you can use this in scripts that run on the server side in Node or in other JavaScript environments. Hopefully this is useful. There's one additional feature in here that I'm not going to demo, but we also have support for query aliasing, which lets basically automatically creates an alias query that you can use when the URL is too long for the network. So sometimes you construct a very long analytics query, the URL gets very, very long, and the data engine will take care of automatically creating an alias for you for that so that you don't run into issues with the network. I won't get into the details of that. We'll write something up about it in the documentation, but that's also a part of this feature as well. So hopefully this is very useful. I saw some claps. I don't know if anybody wants to very quickly say something about why they think this might be useful, but this is a new feature that'll be coming soon to the app runtime for you. Over. And with that, I will turn it over to the Android team to tell us a little bit about some SDK or no some new features of the Android app actually that are very exciting. And is it Javier? Are you gonna do the presentation? Javi?
Yes, I'm gonna do it. Hi, how you doing?
Thank you. So over to you, and if you could leave me just 1 or 2 minutes at the end, that would be great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay, just start sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Yep, can see it now.
Okay, so um, so I'm going to talk about custom intent. We've talked about it in a couple of demos, and we did it in the feature spotlight, and we've been doing something with the dev champions. And so, what are custom intents? If you're not involved with the Android development environment, basically an intent is what's used to navigate in between activities. It can be within the app, or it's also what we use to call different applications. So that's what we're gonna talk about today at a very high level. Okay. So, what are custom intents and what do they allow us to do? So they allow us to communicate with third-party apps for data entry and search and implement it into the DHIS2 data capture system. Okay, so this is how it would look from the data entry. And what happens is that when you tap on launch, it will trigger our third-party app. Okay, and here is where we'll do our custom action. And the good thing about it is that it can be anything. Now, it could be a special scanner, it could be a biometric sensor, it could be coordinates. So basically, as long as that app is configured to send information to another application, you can recover the data and return the value. Okay. And finally, this is saved and integrated within the DHIS2 environment. Okay. I'm quickly going to go again, very high level review about how to configure it. Okay, so this is configured from the settings web app, and this is the custom intent that we're testing. And it's quite a few configurations. We're not going to go through all of them, but basically you have to tell it like the package name of the third party app we're going to call, what attribute of DHIS2 you're going to link into. So it could be a fact entity attribute or a data element. And finally, what screen to launch it from. Okay, and then you have the request parameters. For this test, what we've done is we created a standalone app just to test the different values that we're going to send. So in this case specifically, we've set it up so that when it receives this key, and depending on a second parameter that it's sent, it's going to return a type of object. So in this case, we'll always be returning a list of objects. And finally, and in the response, this is how we will pass the data received from that third-party app and like the different types of value that we can recover and what key in this case we're going to recover from it. Okay. So without further ado, let me just 1 second move this around. Okay, I have the app here. So I already created a view. Well, I have everything configured, and it's configured so that the last name, as we saw in the server, will trigger the custom intent launch. Okay, so first of all, we're going to add a new person. Okay, we need to add the date of birth. This is all just a mandatory field. Okay, so this is the custom intent that we set up. So as you see, it's launching our app, and this is the response value that we want to return. So in this case, it's reading the second value of the second key. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say this is a test. 1 second. Okay, so now it will only read this is a test text. Okay, and you can see that it recovered the value. If I didn't modify those values, it's just returning the both values. So this was just me doing a test. Okay, so I'll modify that again, and it's going to be savvy. Okay, oh, it needs a name. Okay, now this is just an automatic event creation that's really not related to the demo in this case. Okay, and you can see it was created fine. Now, if I search for that person, this is the way you can configure it for the search. So this will also trigger the intent. And what I can do is I will modify one of the values to Savvy, just so that we can make sure that it's returning the CI that we created. Okay, and the second one can just remain as it is. So you can see it recovered two different values. Okay, and you can see that it's filtering by those values. So a few of the like other use cases it's been tested and for some certain implementations is for like a biometrics app. So these are two intents configured. So what would happen is that you would, if I go back to my phone, is that you would both for search when you would tap on the custom intent, it would trigger biometrics app instead of ours. And then it would return a UID. So what basically it would enable them to scan someone's face and return automatically the TIs it was linked to. Yeah? So so that's about it. Just final detail to add is that it's very well documented, both in the Android app documentation and in the Android settings web app configuration. And yeah, really the sky is the limit with this, because you can implement anything that you can connect up to. Okay, so that'd be it from my side. I'll stop sharing. If there are any questions, I'm also happy to answer.
Thanks a lot, Javi. I know that this is something that really allows you to extend the capabilities of the Android app without forking it, which is a huge win for, I think, a lot of the community and the developers that are trying to build customizations on Android without needing to fork the app, which many people, probably even many people here, have done because it's been one of the only ways to extend it without building your own with the SDK for a while. So it's very, very cool to see, and I think will open up a lot of interesting use cases. Did anyone have any questions for Javi or the Android team who's here? No. Okay. Well, thank you. Was there another
Thank you.
anything else that someone else from your team wanted to show, or was that the presentation?
No, we only the custom intent in this case.
Great. Cool. Well, thank you. I did just want to share one thing before we wrap up for today. First of all, thank you all very much for joining. It's really great to see the meetups and everybody who joins them. We're more than 30 people here now. I remember 7 or 8 years ago when we didn't even have meetups yet. We had very little developer community at that time. In this sense, and some of the first meetups that had one or two people, or sometimes even no people would join. So it's really cool to see this growing, not only in these meetups, but with the developer champion program that Mozafar has been running, all the contributions to the core that we've seen recently, as well as the development of all the tools and all the apps and the extensions that all of you are building is really cool to see. And it's a little bit bittersweet for me because this will actually, I haven't run this meetup for a little while, and this will actually be the last one that I'll be leading because I'll be stepping back and moving on from UIO at the end of this month. So having been here since sort of the beginning of this community, it's really cool to see everything that's grown, the team that's grown around it, and also the community that's continued to develop. So I just wanted to share that and say thank you all for being here, and also for everyone who's not here as well for being part of this community and for really yeah, making it the special place that it is. And that's all I wanted to say. But just wanted to say thank you again, and we can wrap up this meetup for today. You might see me around, but this will be the last time you'll see me kind of leading this particular meetup. And I hope to see you all around and continue to see what the great things that the community is doing going forward. Thank you to all of you, and we will go ahead and wrap up for the meetup today. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.